Hi, dolls.
Hi, girls.
It's me and Cedar. We're back again.
To another episode. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
This is Hot and Bothered. I'm Cedar Champ.
I'm Chris Bruno.
On this podcast, we talk about everything that we find hot as fuck.
And everything that bothers the shit out of us.
I think this episode is going to be a little bit unorthodox because Chris is in between
countries
and I'm losing my fucking mind per usual. But okay, I'm just going to go into this. So we were literally just talking about...
For 5 hours, we should have filmed 3 fucking episodes.
Oh, 1000%.
Like, now we're sitting here completely brain dead.
No, we just had like literally the most in-depth, serious conversation. And we might just keep it rolling. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, so we briefly touched on... We were just talking about lip filler.
Okay.
And I just wanted to say...
Don't minimize the situation.
No,
and
I'm not.
The context of
I'm
our
not. Okay, because somebody on the internet said that... People on the internet obviously said multiple horrible things about me. Someone on the internet was talking about my lip filler, apparently. And then I was like, and I'm glad that I can say that I've never had my lips done. And Chris was like, same. And
no, I said the opposite. I said, I'm glad people think that I have not had my lips done.
Oh.
But I have had them done. You haven't.
Oh, because I said, I'm glad that people think I have had my lips done and I haven't. And you said, yeah, me too.
Oh, I meant like, I'm glad people think that I have not, but I have. It's like the opposite.
Okay, so the point that I wanted to make was that I love it when people try to comment on somebody else's like cosmetic procedures, or like when they see like a pretty girl or whatever the case is, they're like, oh, like her lip filler and her Botox and blah, 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 blah. And they actually have no idea what they're talking about. So case in point, a YouTube comment that I got like, let's see, 17 hours ago, someone said, I think whoever shot that Botox into her lips should be held accountable.
You don't get Botox in your lips? Dumb fucking idiot.
And I'm like, slay. Like, I love it when you judge people for their physical appearance and also have
we're
no
all
idea.
Guilty of it.
No, and
but
there's no
shame.
shame.
There's no shame, but like I would never go out of my way to comment that on someone. Like,
imagine being so bored.
No fucking life to the point of, and I feel like we've had this conversation before where we're like, I think it was like responding to a comment. It's like, okay, if someone comments something, you have like one as
creators,
account holders of a problematic, controversial account that's literally just begging to be destroyed
decimated,
by
judged,
anybody and everybody. It's like, we've had the conversation where it's like, okay, we respond once. That's like rule of thumb. And if that person responds to our comment, it's like you like have no life like times 500.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, are you working? Like, go put your time and energy into something productive.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's like, just people are such fucking losers and dorks. It's like,
no, but I absolutely adored that, because it's like, comment on my shit all day, every day. Talk about how bad my lip filler is if you want. And then to like comment and have absolutely zero clue or context as to like what even lip filler or Botox is, to the point where you're like, whoever did the Botox on her lips, it's like, okay, babe, if you don't know what you're talking about, just say you don't know what you're talking about.
So much Botox in my lips, like you guys aren't gonna recognize me.
Guys, hold on. Next week I have a Botox appointment. I'm gonna get it all injected into my lips. You have no idea what's coming.
So stupid.
Imagine. Anyway, no, but the conversation we just had was like very uplifting and like honestly kind of spiritual.
I agree, and I don't know, like, should we tell the girls what it was? Like,
how did we even get there?
Going back to what we talked about last week, Cedar getting slut shamed and slammed and dragged and mutilated on Twitter.
A place that I would never wish to be.
Yeah, she made the mistake, as anyone would, of going back and, reviewing the content.
Okay, I'll clarify. So we recorded an episode talking about how I got dragged on Twitter, and I read a few comments but didn't go too in depth, and I'm proud of myself for that. However, I decided to go back to find a few comments just to screenshot and then post on the Hot and Bothered Instagram account just for jokes.
Shits and gigs.
Yeah,
good
just
laugh.
for shits and gigs, exactly. And then so I went to just find like a single comment to screenshot because I was like, it's not going to be hard to find a comment of somebody calling me a slut. So I started looking, and then it didn't come immediately. So I kept looking, and then next thing you know, I'm an hour and a half in, and I've been looking through all of these comments of people saying the most insane and vile things about me. So I got sucked into this vortex. And that's where I found myself today. And I know that's like kind of a rookie mistake. Like, that's if you go viral, the one thing you're not supposed to do is look at the fucking comments. But today I indulged in that, and I won't be doing that again. Thank God. But anyway, carry on.
No, you're on a roll.
Where were we going with that? So yeah, rookie mistake. So I kind of got sucked into this vortex, and I ended up finding some of the most insane and disgusting and vile things people could ever possibly post on the internet without getting arrested, probably. And we just were dissecting that and like talking. Well, it actually led to a conversation about our purposes in life, essentially.
Okay, so actually what the conversation, look at us having like a double story time.
No, this is incredible.
So the thing that Cedar posted on Twitter was just like talking about like red flags with the guy and her going on a date with the guy, and was just like, hey, is this a red flag? Is it not a red flag? She gets completely dragged by God knows who, anonymous QAnons. And I was telling her, I'm like, okay, but don't these comments and whatever these people are reposting, whatever they're saying, I was like, doesn't that just like prove your point and like the irony in what they're saying against what you posted? I'm like, it's literally just proving your point and what you said in the video.
Exactly.
And she brought up some really, so I'm like obviously retarded and I don't really know like a lot of things in the world, but I'm actually
the first step is admitting it.
Yeah. But I don't know like what it's like to be a woman, and I don't really like think about feminism on like a serious note because I think it's just I it doesn't affect me, and like
on a day-to-day
I don't know,
basis.
I'm a selfish gay. Like I'm like, I don't know, like I love women, duh. Like I don't.
But also, let's not diminish your experience as a gay man, because you obviously have your own, and that's a different story, right?
1,000%.
However, like obviously, let's acknowledge like you have your own struggles just as I have my own.
Yes.
Just because you're not fully aware of mine does not diminish your own.
But I feel like the conversation that we had was like the first time that I've had this conversation with someone, and it kind of put things into perspective for me. I already forgot what we talked about, but I don't know. It was just like cute and inspiring, and I was just like, aw.
Yeah, basically what I was saying was that like people said some really fucking horrible things to me on the internet, and I posted a few of them on my Instagram story, and one of them being, this was the most vile one, and like I don't even like, it makes me sick to repeat this because it's insane, but somebody commented on the video and said, once I get my nut, you can be dead in a fucking dumpster for all I care. And basically the point that I was making to Chris earlier was that this is why I post these things, because it's not a problem and it's not prevalent in the day-to-day lives of many people, specifically in men's lives, and it's not something they have to face and deal with on a day-to-day basis, right? So if my sole purpose on this earth is just like chit-chatting and like making subtle commentary on the internet, and then being able to use the vile and disgusting comments that are left on those videos to show other people like, hey, this is like a real factor of the world and this is the way that some people think, then like, so be it. Like, let that be my purpose.
The first time I saw that, I think you sent it to me. I saw it like I saw it twice. I think
you probably saw it on my Instagram, and then you probably saw it on the podcast account.
Okay, yeah. The first time I saw it, I was like, huh. Like I kind of was like, like not like laughed it off, but I was just like, like, okay.
Uncomfortable,
Like I
like,
was just like, okay, like I was just like, okay, that's just some weird like thing that I would see on the internet, and I like have no idea what this is pertaining to. And then I saw it again, yeah, probably on either. I think I saw it on your whatever one of the
oh,
other.
Snapchat.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then the second time I like read it, and I like already had my like awkward like laugh of like I don't really know how to like um
Interpret.
I don't know how to digest what I just
Yeah.
read. And then the second time I read it, I was like, okay, this is like kind of just like disturbing and weird.
Yeah.
But again, me being, what is the word?
A man.
Like ignorance is bliss vibe. I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, okay, this is like uncomfortable to read. Like I just don't like those words all together in the same sentence. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to like know what this is pertaining to really. And then when we were talking about it a few minutes ago, I was just like, yeah, that's fucking foul and disgusting. And it also once again just furthers the point that you are making in that video
Exactly.
and your thesis of life, which is,
Men are vile creatures
I
and
know,
need
but
to be
not so
eviscerated.
not so like masochistic. It's like more you need to I think that we need to flip that tone, and it needs to be like a positive feminine thing.
Well, this is what I was saying to Chris earlier, and that's the crazy thing. And I'm so sorry because I know we dissected this video in the last episode. However, it's
We
relevant
had a
and
whole different
it
agenda for
is,
today, and we were feeling
yeah.
a little bit inspired. We're
Yeah. There's
political
actually
today.
no mission today, and because we're in between Chris's gallivants across the country and the globe, we're just winging it. So
Vegas,
here we are. Well, Dubai,
Bangladesh,
exactly.
Taiwan.
He's actually going to be in Japan next week. So
For a Harajuku conference.
anyway, where the fuck was I going with that?
We're feminists.
The thing is that in that video, like I've said worse things and I've been
1000%.
so severely such a misandrist, if that's how you even fucking pronounce the word, on the internet that like for that simple video where actually I wasn't even saying like all men are horrible. I wasn't like coming for men
It
as a
was like
whole.
low key, like a light and cheeky little video where you were like, I went on a really good date with this guy and we had a
Yeah.
good time. I
And
went
I
home and he said, text me when you're home. And then he didn't. Like, what does that mean? And then for it to get picked up by these random freak show, QAnon, whatever, adjacents, whoever the fuck
Mhm.
these like weird burner accounts are that
Yeah.
has who knows what following them.
Yeah.
It's like, obviously they're just like
Nitpicking.
plucking information that they're gonna whatever.
The point being is that I can be so much more horrible, vile, progressive, aggressive. I can be so much more intense and have been, especially on the internet and on this podcast and like wherever. Like, but that video specifically, I was very much just like, I went on a date with this guy. This is how it ended. Should I feel a type of way about this or is that dramatic? And I already know, and I said this last week, I already know how I feel about this. And like no one else's opinion really matters because at the end of the day, like if I'm going to pursue somebody seriously, I do want them to have an understanding of like, not that they ever will be able to fully understand, but I do want them to acknowledge that like being a woman is a unique and scary experience and that like as a man on this earth, like if you aren't holding other men accountable and helping contribute, then you are also part of the problem. And what the fuck was I just saying?
I think you're getting a little carried away. No, like you were saying, before you're also the problem. Just like
No, what was I saying
that it's a
before
unique
that?
experience being a woman.
Oh yeah, no, okay. I was getting carried away.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, pull it back.
Okay.
Like, let's not get angry again, please.
Basically,
Jeez.
realigning with that. If I'm gonna date a man seriously, that I want a man who is understanding of that, right? And so basically, I've only been out with this guy a couple of times. Yeah, we fucked. That means very little to me at this point. I am an evolved woman, and I can have casual sex, contrary to popular belief. And so if I'm
Don't tell the Twitter folks.
oh yeah, God forbid. But if I'm evaluating this man from the perspective of like, okay, are we keeping this casual or do I want to date you seriously? That to me would be a red flag because he obviously has no comprehension. And I will say, I went even further to prove this point in that I hung out with him multiple more times after that incident of the text me when you get home situation, whatever. We hung out like literally 3 or 4 more times after that. And the very last time we hung out, we ended up getting in a very in-depth conversation regarding feminism. We talked about if you're a woman that is on TikTok, you probably know about the conversation of man or bear. We talked about that. We talked about the 4B movement. We talked about a lot of trendy feminist movements. And he pulled the not all men card on me. And it led to like this very in-depth conversation in which he had no valid argument except for the fact that he was defensive. And he said if you approach men in that way, they will also be defensive, which is an invalid argument in my opinion because you're a grown man. Why are you acting like a toddler? And anyway, it turned into this like very lengthy discussion in which I laughed at the end and went home and have no intentions on speaking to him again. So anyway, obviously my intuition was right? Like obviously this man does not align with my values.
Correct. But I feel like the bigger picture, I think you need to talk about your new purpose in life.
Yeah. So I posted that video on the internet and I got literally dragged through the mud for it. So I went down this rabbit hole today and I was looking for a simple screenshot of a slut shaming comment to post on the podcast account. And I wound up taking multiple screenshots of multiple horrifying comments that were left in regard to me. And I didn't even include the ones, I added one about my physical appearance, but there were so many of them that were like actually so vile and harmful that I'm just like, I can't even imagine like commenting on somebody else's appearance in that way. That's insane to me. So I went down that whole rabbit hole, and at the end of the day, I was like, if that post of me just talking about a date that I went on evoked that kind of response from men and from society, then so be it. And there are so many women that post on the internet every day, and they post their nails and they post their cute apartments and their hair tutorials and their outfits of the day, and I love them for that, and I would love to be one of those women. However, I was thinking about this today, so I went on the internet, okay, that's where I was going, to find screenshots to post, and I ended up in this rabbit hole. I found multiple screenshots, and I went to go post these screenshots of these horrifying comments. I went to go post them on Instagram today, and I was initially only going to post them on the podcast account, and I was on my personal Instagram. I posted a link to the episode and was about to post a couple of these really insane comments on my own personal Instagram, and I had a moment where I paused and I thought to myself, is this too much for Instagram? And then I thought to myself, that's not cute. It's not aesthetic. Like it's not like
the vibe.
It's not the vibe
that
and
we
like
want to portray on Instagram.
And I think about like the girls that I follow and even people I know where they like on their stories, all I see are these like cutesy, beautiful mood boards. And I love them for that. And I would love to be one of those women. However, I'm not. I don't necessarily have like the visual eye to like have this like adorable curated social media presence. Right. And so I had this moment where I was about to press post and I thought to myself, is this the image I want to portray on Instagram? And then I had a second thought to myself where I was like, maybe not, but also the image that I think I want to portray on Instagram doesn't exactly align with me either. And that's not real or authentic. And I'm never going to be that person. I'm never going to be that picture perfect Instagram girl with the cutesy little mood board and all the colors are coordinated, so on and so forth. And so who am I going to be is basically what it came down to. And it was a question of, am I going to be the girl that strives to have these Instagram posts that are like visually appealing, or am I going to be the girl that posts what's relevant and real in my life in that specific moment? And I came to identify with the fact that I will never be that girl, so I might as well be this girl, the person that I am, right? And the person that I am is this person who posted something so simple on the internet that was completely taken out of context and so far misconstrued. And if this is what my social media presence needs to look like in order to show other people that this is the world, this is the way that women are viewed in society, and this is what this looks like, then so be it. Like I'll take that L so that way other women have that safe space and have the ability to have their cute Instagrams and can post those things without being dragged through fucking hell and back. Does that make sense?
Completely. 1,000%. It's very selfless of you. You're like, I'm gonna give up my beautifully curated Instagram grid to talk about me being slut shamed, to expose
misogynistic, disgusting behavior.
exactly.
I'm not obviously not trying to play martyr.
You are, as I said earlier, you are now Gandhi.
Exactly.
You are running for office.
Exactly.
And we now have to find a career path that aligns with your new passion and your new, well, not new, your recently accepted passion and vision and voice.
Obviously, I'm not trying to be a martyr.
I don't know what that means.
Like Jesus was a martyr. He died for our sins.
You know, I was in a meeting
right?
today. I was in like a big meeting today. And this episode's giving like full blown like first episode, no agenda, but we're just like here and we don't give a fuck.
Well, Chris is in between countries, so it is what it is.
I was in a meeting today and I feel bad. This goes against everything that we were just talking about.
Say it.
We were in a meeting today and someone like literally, there's no such thing as a stupid question, but I did feel a little embarrassed for this guy. Someone said type A like twice, and like in the middle of someone speaking, he was like so like confidently, he was like, "What's type A?" And I was like, that's a generally known
word, phrase
concept for the, again, general population, like
yeah.
type A. And I was just like thinking to myself, how possibly could a client entrust somebody with
their project
and you don't even know what type
A
A
means?
And I was like, baby, I don't know, it was sad. Anyway,
where did this come from?
Me not knowing what a martyr was.
Oh, a martyr. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the more you know. So a martyr is somebody that basically dies for your sins. Like Jesus Christ died for our sins.
I'm not that. Someone will die for my sins, and I volunteer you.
It's not going to be you.
No, I volunteer you.
I'll do that. I'll die for your sins.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Anyway, yeah, so I guess we're hot this week because we're newly inspired by
our missions in life.
I mean, mine's not as deep as yours.
I think yours has a purpose. I think yours has, well, okay, so what I wanted to say was, obviously I'm not a martyr. However,
like you were saying, like this shit about abortions in Idaho and all this shit that's happening, and you were like, who's doing anything about this? And I'm like, bitch, go put on your work boots. You're going to Idaho. You're going to go protest. Who is that lady that's like in all those like Time magazines on the front? Jane Austen? Who is that? That's a writer. Who is the lady?
I don't know.
With the circle glasses?
I'm just like, am I running for governor? Like, what am I doing?
Governor?
Am I running for governor? Like, I mean, I'm just like, all I really want to do is
you should work for a nonprofit.
Literally talk out of my asshole. That's all I want to do.
Would you go work at a nonprofit?
I would think about it. maybe
and get paid
twice.
$8.75 an hour.
My family's been doing this thing where we're doing bi-weekly conference calls, and like literally,
You clocking into your family's bi-weekly debate.
yeah, and nobody knows how to orchestrate a conference call except for me apparently. And so like I have a calendar reminder on my phone bi-weekly. It's super easy to set up. And so I usually before every meeting I text everybody and I'm like,
Hi, we're on
hey
5.
guys, is everybody like good for our call today? Whatever. And everybody's like, yeah. And then like yesterday I was just like checked out. Didn't feel like sending that text message. And I was just like, you know what? Whoever shows up, right? No one contacted me about it. And so I started the call. I called one of my sisters. She didn't answer. I called another sister. She answered. Called my mom. And then it was just 3 of us on the call. Called my dad. He didn't answer. So it was just three out of 5 of us on the call. And I'm like, because I didn't send the reminder, nobody even knew it was happening because no one has enough fucking brain cells to set a bi-weekly calendar reminder. A bi-weekly calendar reminder, not that fucking hard to do.
Well, why don't you send a fucking invitation, a calendar invite, babe? That's where you're
Well,
fucking up as project
initially
manager.
I did on Google, right? But
Mhm.
nobody in my fucking family knows how to orchestrate Google.
Well, they give like droid vibes over there on your dad's side at least.
My dad is the only one that doesn't have an iPhone.
There you
Anyway,
go. Does he have
so
a flip phone?
yeah, he still has a flip phone. So anyway, I just had it. I didn't send
Mhm.
the reminder yesterday. And then there was only 3 of us on. And then finally my dad joined like 30 minutes late. My other sister tried to join like 45 minutes late. And it was like this whole thing, right? And so we're finally all on the call. And my dad says to me, so Cedar, have you given any thought to like being a lobbyist in Arizona? And I was like, Dad, I don't want to live in Arizona. And he was like, okay. Like, so pissed off.
If you moved to Arizona, he would buy you a house,
No, I know.
buy you a car,
Oh,
pay all your bills.
if I moved to Arizona and advocated for like anti-abortion agenda, whatever the fuck that is, if I moved to Arizona and became pro-life and was advocating for the conservative agenda, whatever that looks like, the gates would open up for me. The gates to
Financially.
literal heaven would open
Yeah.
up for me. I would own a house. I would have 3 dogs and not have to worry about their vet bills. And I would be driving a fucking Porsche. Like, literally, there wouldn't be a problem in my life at all whatsoever if I would do that. But I was like, I was like, Dad, I do not want to live in Arizona. And he goes, okay. And my sister literally laughed out loud. And I was like, what are you laughing at? And she's like, the way that Dad said, okay. And I was like, yeah, because he's fucking pissed because he literally cannot wrap his brain around the fact that like somebody could be happy living in California. Like for a conservative to conceptualize that California isn't a completely miserable place to live is so beyond. They just can't even comprehend. So anyway,
Crazy.
but I also like one thing I do want to say to my dad, but I won't and haven't. Like, well, I might the next time he brings it up if he ever does again. But I want to be like, next time he says, Cedar, like, why don't you work in politics in Arizona? The only
Like,
response
what
I
makes you
have,
fucking think that that's what I want to do, Dad? You know me. Like, you're gonna have to send me to
you
like,
wrote me out of your will because of political beliefs.
yeah.
What makes you think I want to do that? So the only response I have to that, and the next time he brings it up, the only option left for me is to say, Dad, if I move to Arizona and involve myself in politics, you will not like the side that I am on.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other way to spin it. And that will only do further damage to our relationship. So stop pushing this. Like, just because I moved to Arizona, I'm not going to magically
Yeah, you
become
cross that state line,
like,
baby, and Trump is our god.
no,
Like, no, baby, it doesn't work that way.
like literally what? And he knows where I stand. So that's just insane behavior. But anyway, can we talk about you a little bit now? What's your life purpose? Instead of are you hot or bothered this week, it's what's your life purpose?
What is my life purpose? I think you're probably better at answering that than me. I don't know what my life purpose is. I just want to be like,
hot and rich.
I just want to like drive around with an $8 coffee. Like, that's what brings me joy. That's what makes me happy.
Okay. To
You know
put
what I
it,
was thinking about the other day? This is going to kind of get like really deep and weird.
wait, before we get there, I want to simplify my life purpose to put it a little more vapid just for the sake of this podcast. As we mentioned earlier, my purpose in life is to talk.
We
And that's
know.
it. And that's literally it. All I want to do is I don't actually want to be involved in politics. I don't actually really want to take that route. Maybe when I'm like 30, I'll like get inspired or something and like want to do something deeper. But right now at this point in time, all I want to do is talk on the internet and push the agenda of feminism while being hot. And that's my life purpose. And to put it plainly and to be slightly vapid, that's where I'm at. So now it's your turn.
I don't know where I'm at. Actually, I do, because I was telling Cedar earlier. This is also very gay and very um personal for me, and I only have these kinds of revelations when I'm under the influence of something. Um, when I was under the influence at a concert, I was having this like revelation of being like so like proud of myself and like happy with where I am in life, and like, okay, if I knew that I was going to be here like 4 or 5 years ago, like I wouldn't have believed it, or I would, but I just would have had no idea like how I got there, blah 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 blah. And then I was thinking like what is like the end game, and like who means like the most to me. And I was just like, based off of like, I feel like why a lot of people work so hard and want to like make a lot of money, like people that have drive, it's like they either just like it comes naturally, or I feel like the other half of people that I know that like have a drive to work hard and make money is to like, give it back to their parents, and to like make their parents proud, and to like, prove, not even prove something to their parents, but then I was thinking about that too, and I was like, okay, like yes, this comes naturally to me, and like yes, I would at some point in my life like would want to like share my success with people. But then I was like, okay, if I were to like, I would feel so weird, like I totally understand why people do this, but like I was thinking about it for me and like my relationship with my parents and my family. I was like, my parents like literally would not like accept me like giving them money, or like buying them something, or like doing something like they would literally be mad at me.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know if it's just like my cultural background,
Yeah.
or like because my parents like don't need that per se, they just like wouldn't think it's necessary, and they would be like, this is weird, like why are you doing this, like what are
Yeah.
you trying to prove? It's like they're not like,
They don't need your help.
yeah, like my parents are fine, like they're hard workers, and they're successful on their own, and it's like they inspire me to work hard, so it's like I don't need, and they know that already, and
Mm-hmm.
that's like the biggest gift that I can give them already,
Yeah.
so it's like they don't need me to like. But I was just thinking like, okay, yeah, one day like, I would like to buy my dad a 1965 Bronco, or whatever the fuck car he wants. But he would be like, why are you like,
Why are
no,
you doing
like,
that?
don't do that. Like, that's a waste. Like, why are you, I don't, you know what I mean? They would like be mad at me.
Yeah.
But,
I have something to say on that topic.
go.
Are you sure? It's long.
Yeah, no, because I'm like trying to like
Find
wrap
words.
this up. But hold on. Again, I think it's amazing that people do that. And I think that that's amazing. Like, I think that's a big, incentive to work hard, is to like give back to family. I don't know what the fuck. I don't care.
I think about this a lot because there are, and it never made sense to me when I was younger, but there are so many like rappers that make
Yeah.
comments in their music where they're like basically saying that all they want to do is buy their mom a house,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I've had a similar thought process and perspective. And okay, so this goes a little bit deeper than that, of course, as everything does in my brain. But so when I was younger, it was never a question in my family as to if I was going to go to college. It was
Mm-hmm.
non-negotiable. My dad always said, you have to go to college. And his logic and his reasoning for that was because I don't know if I might have talked about this before on here, but he always said, in an ideal world, you find a man and you fall head over heels in love with him and you get married and you have a stable life and you have kids and so on and so forth.
White
But
picket fence American dream.
exactly. But unfortunately, sometimes that doesn't always work out. So in the circumstance that that is the trajectory of your life and that doesn't work out, then I want you to have a college degree. So that way, if you're left alone and you're taking care of 3 kids, you have a degree and you can get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I have a degree. I can't get a fucking job and I don't have kids. But that was always his logic. And for as long as I can remember, from as young as I was, that was always his logic and reasoning as to why I needed to get a college degree. Fast forward, my parents got divorced, and now my mother is working for her retirement, and she's celebrating her 60th birthday this year. And she literally worked construction for quite a few years. Like, she was driving heavy machinery, like doing crazy manly shit, but she's butch and we all know that. And she's like tough and she can handle and whatever. And that's just the type of woman that my mom is. But the point being that she raised 3 children and is still having now to scrap for her retirement. And that devastates me.
So the
And
opposite of what I said.
basically the opposite of what you said. But like, thankfully your parents are married and they're happy and like whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, so I used to not be able to understand that perspective. And now I think about like, God, I would absolutely love it if I could help my mom retire. If I
Fully.
could buy her a house somewhere else where she would be happier living and I could help her retire. However, my mom would never accept that help from me.
Yeah.
She would never
I mean, if
accept
my
that.
parents, like, if their situation was different, I would feel that way. Like, I still do feel that way. Like,
yeah.
I was shopping last week and I was like, oh my God, like, I should just get this for my mom because she's wanted it for so long and like I can buy it for her. But I was like, she literally would be mad at me and would not accept it.
Yeah.
So I was like, no. But I mean, if I knew that she would and that she would be, it would make her happy. It would literally like stress her out. Like she would like shit her pants.
Right.
And be like, what? No.
No, and my mom is the exact same
Yeah.
way, even though I know it would go like such a long way and she would like absolutely enjoy whatever thing it is. Like even like at one point when I had a career, I was making more money annually than she was, which is insane. And like even when I was like, what do you want for Christmas? She'd be like, absolutely don't spend
Socks.
any money on me for
Yeah.
Christmas. Like she just wouldn't let it happen.
Yeah.
You know? And so yeah, I for sure get that perspective. But like I guess at the end of the day, like that is the ultimate goal, right? Is to like be more successful than your parents so you can provide them more comfort than what they've had in their life.
Yeah, and I also feel like it like is the circle of life. It's like your parents take care of you and then you take
And
care
then
of
you take care of them.
which is inevitable in
Yeah.
in a different scenario. But no, that thought like crossed my mind. I was like, like what am I like what am I even working towards? Like
Yeah.
what is going to be like the end game? Like what is actually like, something that I can like put at the end of my like checklist of things that like I want in life. And I was like thinking about it because that's like I feel like so many people's like goals, and then I was just like I still want that, and I know that I will be able to like give them that, but just they wouldn't accept it.
Yeah. It's like
People are gonna like scream at us and call us privileged.
Whatever. But it's like you have to reach a point of like so much success where your parents are willing to accept it because they know that it's like not even a thing to you, which is also like insane to even think about.
Yeah. We're inspired girls. So, I mean, back to the main question. That was probably really horrible and disgusting for people to hear. So I apologize.
I actually don't think that was that bad because at the end of the day, we were just saying that like all we want in life is
to buy our parents things against their will.
Like repay our parents for everything that they've done for us, which is admirable regardless of the privilege you came from, right? I think. However, I do want to say there is a little worksheet homework thing that I randomly like this girl like made this TikTok and she was like, oh my God, this thing. And it's like literally like a little PDF thing you can download on the internet. It's like 3 pages or something. And it's like, what is your life purpose or whatever? And it's like this little worksheet that I was like working through. And that's kind of like what inspired this conversation. And I already told you like partly about this, but it asks you a few questions. You just like answer a few prompts, and it's supposed to help you like uncover like what your purpose in life is, right? And so I was kind of working through that, and like you have to be really honest with yourself, but I was like getting into it a little bit, and then like you get to this point where you are supposed to ask other people. You're supposed to ask friends or family when you think of what my purpose in life might be, what comes to mind. And I asked my mom and I asked my sisters and a few friends and stuff. And there were a handful of people where like one of the key phrases, obviously they like expanded upon it a little bit more, but like the key phrase was leader. And like my communication skills and like things like that were heavily emphasized. And so that's why I was saying earlier, like, what is my fucking purpose in life other than to just
Talk.
literally yap?
Yeah.
Like all I want to do is yap.
Yeah. I mean,
and now we're 45 minutes
yeah.
in and I've just been fucking yapping.
Yeah, you're doing a good job of it, sweetie. I think you're fulfilling your life goal.
My prophecy.
No, but I don't really know what mine would even be. What do you think my purpose in life is?
Would you be interested in looking at? You wouldn't do it. I feel like if I sent it to you, you wouldn't do it.
I was thinking send it to me as you're talking about it. I'm like,
really?
I want to look at it. Yeah.
I thought about offering it to you earlier, but I didn't think that you would be interested.
No, I'm interested in it. I'm in like a inspired moment, but by the time I get home, I'll probably like swipe and delete. But let's see.
Wait.
I'll take a little gander.
One thing I wanted to say that kind of came about earlier, especially when you were saying that, like when you were thinking about the point that you're at in your life right now, you think back to you like 3 or 5 years ago and you wouldn't think.
I would believe it, but I wouldn't know
how
my vehicle of like success or
right.
I mean, I think that I would.
So what
I also don't want this to sound like I'm like tooting my own horn and that I'm like
big baller.
Yeah,
like, rich
yeah.
Boy.
No. But I'm just like
you're proud of yourself for where you are, and there's
yeah,
nothing wrong
like
with
I'm
that.
not even 30 years old yet, and I'm like I'm completely self-sufficient.
Yeah,
and
that's something to be proud of for
yeah.
sure. What I wanted to say was last summer while I was working my way through the artist's way, and I was sitting in the botanical gardens at UCLA journaling and trying not to kill myself. And one thing that like came about in that book a lot, and like one quote that stuck with me a lot was it says, once you identify the what, the how will fall into place. So once you know what your mission is, once you know what your goal is, once you know what you want out of life, the how falls in line. And so that came to mind when you were saying earlier, when you were saying like you knew what your goal was, but you just didn't know how you were going to get there essentially. And that's basically what you did. And I think that that's like a really cool way to live by. You just have to identify what you want out of life and then just
manifest it.
Manifest the fuck out of it.
It's so easy.
It's so easy. It's not at all hard. You don't have to work a day in your life.
You have to work really hard, but also you have to manifest. You have to do both at once.
No, of course. There's obviously a lot of work that goes into it, but when you find what it is, the work is like, you're working toward a bigger goal, a bigger picture.
And that work doesn't feel like work.
It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably sound dumber than we've ever sounded.
I think this is our worst episode we've ever made. I think this is
our worst episode we've ever recorded. You have to scratch that whole thing.
The whole thing. The whole 52 minutes or whatever the fuck.
Like talking about my parents on air.
I know. I kind of feel uncomfortable about it too, but it is
super
what it is.
Disrespectful and weird.
Yeah.
We don't care.
We don't care. Anyway.
They would agree with what I said.
No, I think so too.
But the world's going to call me a spoiled little gay brat and say that I'm privileged.
It's not like we're getting any social clips out of this episode anyway, so it's fine.
Perfect. Please don't. I wouldn't be able to watch them back. So
I think it's admirable. Like at the end of the day, we both have missions in life, and like all we really want is to be able to repay our parents for like half the shit that they did for us.
And half the shit that we put them through.
Do you want to hear something crazy? This is completely off topic, but also relating to my mother. So my mom now works for this company that does hazardous waste removal. She deals with some insane shit. And like most recently, she was like working with this team that they went in to remove like fucking mercury or something, I don't really know, out of this old lady's house, right? And they were like doing the like cleanup, and they got into the basement and they found dynamite that had crystallized. And they were like, we can't move this without it exploding. So we're going to have to blow this house up. And so they had to have this lady come in and get all of her like belongings, or like the things that she cared about. They had to have her take them all out of the house. And then they had to blow the house up because of this fucking dynamite.
That is insane.
Insane. So then this isn't even her project, but she has a friend that works for the same company. And this friend was working on a project where it was, this is so fucked up and sad and like sick and morbid, but it was I want to say it was like an old folks home or like a funeral home or something like that, right? And when the people died, they were supposed to bury the bodies in a way where they could decompose naturally and like without caskets or anything like that. So kind of just like putting them back into the earth kind of thing, you know? And these fucking weirdos that owned this place weren't burying the bodies. So they had piles and piles and piles of fucking like literally like in the backyard of this place or something, like piles of bodies just decomposing, and they weren't burying them or anything. And obviously their whole operation got shut down and whatever. So the people that were responsible for cleaning this up like had to go in and like clean up these decomposing bodies that these people just like didn't bury.
Wouldn't that smell bad from like a mile away?
You would think.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
probably why they got shut down. People were probably like reporting bad smells.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. Like
it's
it is
so fucking foul.
Insane. Like thankfully my mom works on like the fucking accounting department or something, so she's obviously not like running the front lines. She just hears all the
tea and she's like,
no,
sucks for
literally,
you guys.
she's not the one having to go in and like blow up that old lady's basement or whatever. But like, isn't that crazy?
That's so disgusting. That's like one of those jobs that you don't even think about exists.
Well, yeah. Also, you don't think that like there are like old folks' homes out there that are just like stacking bodies up.
I do. Like, I feel like I feel like those places are like complete scams.
It's just like where like the incels in the Midwest just don't exist. It's that same concept where it's like we're isolated. We live in our little bubble in Los Angeles where like that kind of shit just doesn't exist here. And then it's like all of this stuff is happening in middle America and you're just like, bitch, what the fuck?
They have the land to throw bodies 100 yards back.
Throw it out the window.
Yeah.
Like, what? It's crazy.
It's disgusting.
It's crazy. Anyway, so that's a little
foul.
Great. We talked about our parents and our life purpose.
I still don't have one.
I think we'll figure it out for you. It actually would be a slide for you to do that worksheet. I didn't even finish it.
I know.
I got a lot of clarity through it
though.
Okay. Anyway, girls. So the question this week is, what's your life purpose? Mine is to yap, and Chris's is to buy his dad a Maserati.
Fuck yeah. No, he would actually kill me, and I would never waste money on that. Well, we love you girls. We're feeling a little bit inspired, a little grateful today.
Thanks for taking a detour with us.
Yeah, a little random, a little jump off the tracks.
Yeah.
I guess that was our like hot take of like trying to have a serious conversation.
I think it was good.
We'll see.
It's the same idea that we talked about last week where like that friend of mine was like, I can't listen to the podcast anymore because I can't listen to somebody who's so smart, like sounds so dumb. Like, It's the same concept. This is usually my outlet for fun, but I've had a heavy day today. So we're just having a
heavy night.
So anyway, this week,
girls.
The girls are going to find their purpose in life.
Think about it. Just think about it. It's a simple question.
And buy your parents something nice.
Yeah. Even if you can't afford it.
Exactly. Especially if you can't afford it. Do something nice for your parents. Pay them back. Pay it forward. Okay.
Love
That's
you,
all.
girls.
Love you.
Mwah.